let's do exercise number 6. So this is the exercise you should do if you're aiming for 10. Write a program that generates 20 random integers between 1 and 100 when you click on the generate button. After you have generated 20 random numbers, you can click on the sort button and the program writes out the numbers in increasing order, just like the example below. It should be possible to close the program by clicking File Exit. Okay. And here we have to use some type of variable, or at least it would help, I guess, to use this type of variable. So when we click generate, we just generate random numbers between 1 and 100. And if we look at these numbers, we just change the order. So the smallest number here and the largest number goes to the right. So 5, here's the 5. That's the smallest number, it goes here. And then we have a 6, and then a 12, etc. We have two 64s. One here and one here. And the largest number is 97 here. Okay, so these are the same numbers as these, but they are in order. So how can we do this? Well, let's start with the design. As always, a menu strip and File, Exit. And then we need one button and another button, and we're going to use labels to write out the numbers. And the button should say generate and sort. And sort. Let's do this first. Exit to close the window. This dot dispose brackets. So let's generate some random numbers, 20 random numbers between 1 and 100. They gave us this hint. Use the variable type array of integers. So just whole numbers, the int variable, but an array, so 20 in a row, to store these 20 random numbers. The variable named numbers can now store 20 different integers in 20 different positions, and the positions are 0 to 19. So just by writing this, we create a variable named numbers, and they can store 20 different integers. And then, well, let's start with this. Oops, that was an old YouTube address. Let's see, Control C. There we go. For example, you can store the value of 56 on the first position like this. The name of the variable, and then within these brackets, the position, and the first position was 0 because position 0 to 19. And then is equal to 56. So just by typing this, we can store the number 56 in the first position. If I would like to store the number 78 in the 5th position, which has index 4, I'll just write this. So now we learn how to create this type of variable that can store 20 different whole numbers, and here we can just access the different places or positions in this variable by typing the index 0 to 19 and then just typing the number here. So basically what we could do is for example we can do like this and do it 20 times. And then enter some kind of number. We have to make these random numbers, right? So we have to fix that later. But for now, we can just continue like this and do 20 rows of this. Or, since this number is going to go from 0 to 19, it might be a good idea to use the for loop. So arrays and loops, they go together very well. So instead of 0, I'm going to write I. So I is going to be 0 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3, etc. But we don't want to put the number 56 here. We want to put a random number. How do we do that? Part 2. It's a little bit slow because here we want to put a random number between, what did it say? One and 100, and we want 20 of these. So we had one of the examples here where we generated some random numbers. Here we go. We only need 2 lines of code. Let's use these. This one creates a random variable, and then to get the next or to get the random number we need this. But if we write 100, we get numbers from 0 to 99, but if we add 1 at the end, we get from 1 to 100. And we don't really need the R variable here, so I'm just going to take this line and right here. So this generates a random number between 1 and 100, and we will put it into this variable numbers on the this position, which will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So after we're done with this loop, we should have 20 random numbers. Let's in the label 1.text is equal to, and then we cannot just start adding numbers like this, because remember this is a string. So if we just do like this, it will be fine. Plus numbers position 1, and do this 20 times. But we can save some time by doing this in a loop as well. So let's create another for loop, and then we can't type the numbers directly into the label, so we're going to create a string num, and then this string num is equal to num, which is nothing in the beginning, but we're going to add a random number, and we have to use I, that's the position. So after we're done with this loop, the string num will contain all the random numbers. So let's write out the numbers to label 1 and see what happens. So far we've done file and exit, so we can close the program and we can click generate, and hopefully here in label 1 we will see 20 random numbers. Then we have to start thinking about the sort button, because we have to take these numbers and come up with some kind of strategy where we can move them around and have the smallest number here, and then in increasing order have the largest number here to the right. So let's see what's happening. There were build errors. Let's see. Didn't like that, so let's create an empty string first, and let's see if this works better. So we create string named num, and then we want it to be an empty string. Here we go, the menu, and then let's click generate. This looks a little bit strange, and if we look here at this loop, it's because we write them next to each other. So these are really 20 random numbers, but we don't know if this is 3 and a 6, or 36 and a 2, or 3 and 62. Add a blank space in between. So here we are going to add a blank space at the end. Let's try this and see if it looks okay. Generate 39, 5, 57, 61. We only have numbers within this interval. Let's try it again. It looks fine. We always get 20 numbers within this interval. Okay, let's have a look at these numbers. Now we have to come up with an algorithm to sort these numbers in order. So what can we do? Well, if we just think about this, let's stop thinking about programming in C# for a moment, and just, if we were to do this manually with pen and paper, I would just look through all the numbers once, and then find the smallest number. And in this case, let's see, 6, 11, no, 7, 6 is still the smallest number. Okay, I've checked all the 20 numbers. 6 is the smallest number, so I would just place the smallest number here to the left. Then I cannot count 6 again. I have to find the next smallest number. So I just kind of, if I can take this out or delete this or do something so I don't count 6 again and 6 again. So let's pretend this is out. Now I have a look here, the smallest number, 11 so far, 7, 9, no, 7 is the smallest number. Then I will just write 7 here and continue like that 20 times. So that would be one way to sort these numbers manually. So how about we try to implement this algorithm, or this way of doing it, in C#. Since we're going to look through 20 numbers 20 times, to do it in a loop would be a good idea. So first, let's try to find a way to find the smallest number out of these 20 numbers. So when I click on the sort button, we have to implement the algorithm here. One little detail that is very important. The thing is that we created this variable here in this function. Remember when we clicked on the generate button, but we would like to access those numbers and these random numbers when we click on the sort button. And the problem with variables here, as we used to, we just put them in the function and we can just access them here. We cannot access this variable over here or in another function. So how do we do that? Well, we're just gonna declare this variable as a global variable, and we have to do it here in the beginning, outside of the function. So now everywhere we can access this variable. So let's start with a for loop, and I'm just gonna copy this one, and we have to go through the array 20 times. We're gonna use this array. Let's create an integer that's called smallest, and let's put it to us into the value -1. And then we have to kind of do a check if the first number, because I is going to be 0, is the first random number is, let's see, smaller. No, this is wrong. This is going to be a number bigger than the highest number. So let's say 200. We're never going to have this number. If the first random number is smaller than 200, or smallest, then we found even smaller number, this number. Then we're going to update this smallest variable is equal to numbers I. And maybe we should also remember which position we found this small number. Let's see, 0. So position is equal to I. So let's have a look. What are we doing here in this loop? We have two variables that keep track of some things for us. For example, this variable is going to keep track of the smallest number we find, or we have found so far when we go through the 20 numbers. This variable pos is to remembering the position where we found the smallest number. And in the loop, we're just going to go through the 20 numbers one by one, and if we find another number or a new number that is smaller than what's inside here, we're going to update that variable, and now we found an even smaller number, and then we're just going to continue like that. Let's see what happens. So let's do like this. We're just gonna type out the label 2 is equal to smallest, and see if our algorithm works so far. So, and yeah, let's try this. So I'm gonna generate 20 numbers by clicking the generate button. The smallest number is 1, and now it should say 0, so that doesn't work. So let's see what's wrong in the algorithm. Smallest is equal to 100 if number is smaller than smallest, which will be the case the first time, then we update the smallest to that number, and then we remember the position, and then we go to the next number. So y is the number 0. Let's try it one more time and see what we can find out what the mistake is. Generate 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's add this, the 7. It's still 0. Doesn't matter what we do, we get 0 all the time. So there's something wrong with the smallest. Let's see. We cannot have this twice. That's a problem. Let's do it again. Now, smallest number is 4 and seems to work fine. Let's generate again. The smallest number is 5. Yes. So we found out a way to find the smallest number. Now we just have to do this 20 times and kind of cross out the smallest number one by one as we go through the array of integers. So let's see, does it work here? 13, is that the smallest number? Yes, so it works fine. How can we kind of cross out the number? Well, remember that we have random numbers between 1 and 100, so we are only going to find numbers between 1 and 100. So how about we just enter a high value, and that will never be a value again, because if we, let's say, if we can delete this, if we change the value to, let's say, 200, that we're never gonna find that value to be the smallest value again, because all the other numbers are between 1 and 100. So after this loop, we're just gonna update numbers. This is the array on which position? Well, on the position pos, because that's where we found the smallest number, remember? Is equal to 200. This is our way of resetting the number. So before we do that, we kind of have to take care of this number. So how about we create here the string that's going to contain the sorted sequence, and we can just put it to an empty string, and then sorted is equal to sorted plus numbers dot pos. Why? Okay, let's see. This for loop is finding the smallest number. It will be stored here on that position. So we could have just written smallest, but this is another way of finding the smallest number because it is on the position pos. Okay, so then we just add this number to the sequence, to the string, and then we kind of reset that position. We change it to 200, a very high number. Now we have to do this process 20 times. So how about doing another loop? And so this has to be inside. So we're going to do another loop outside of this, and we need to have another counter. We can have I and I. That's not okay. And then we'll do like this. So 20 times we'll do the big loop, and every time we're gonna go through the sequence, find the smallest number, take it out and reset it. We do it here. Will this work? Well, let's see. We generate the sequence and then we click sort, and we forgot to write it out. So of course we have to do that at the end. Label 2.text is equal to sorted, because that's the string with all the 20 numbers in order, we hope. Let's try it. Generate, here we have the numbers, sort. This doesn't work at all. Why? Let's have a look. So first time we go through and find the smallest number, and then we change this to 200. We need to do one thing again. Let's see. We have to remember this is like the variable that contains the smallest number. But let's say the first time we go through this, the smallest number will be, in this case, 8. Or sorry, 3. So when we go through, in this case, the number will be 3. The smallest variable will be 3. Then we have to set this to a high value again. Otherwise we will never find another number smaller than 3. So then we just have 3 again and 3. It will not work. So the idea is to, when we start, we set this to 200, and then of course we will find a smaller number. And then when we're done one time, we have to kind of set it to 200 again, and then we're going to find another small or a smaller number. So let's see if this works. We generate and we click sort, and now we don't have the space in between. So let's see, when we add this, let's add a space in between. Oops. Generate sort. This seems to be in order. Is it correct? 16, 19, 20, increasing order. Are they the same number? So let's see. We have 1, 4 here. 3, 16. 1, 2, 3. 1, 19. 19. We have 2 99s. 1, 2. Seem to be correct. So let's try a couple of times. 20 new numbers. Sort. In order. Seems to be fine. We have a 99. 99. We have a 2. Do we have a 2? Yes, there. So this seems to work fine. We generate and then we sort the numbers.